Welcome back. It's Charter Local Edition. Brad Pomerance here on the central coast of California, joined by Anthony Kalvans. He is a director with the San Miguel Community Services District, also the vice president of the Special Districts Association for San Luis Obispo County. For our viewers, tell us what a special district is.
Special district is a type of municipal government. It's not like a full city which handles planning issues. We actually are under the law by the state of California. We're allowed 32 latent powers. So that could be roads, garbage, sewer, water, street lighting, fire, police department, mosquito abatement, cemeteries, you name it, except but we're explicitly prohibited from doing planning issues under the law.
I see. So you're not a city. You're part of unincorporated county.
Yes.
But you do have some powers. With regard to San Miguel, which is in North San Luis Obispo County, what powers do you have?
In San Miguel, we have street lighting, fire, water, sewer, and garbage services.
And from where do you obtain your budget to effectuate those powers, to implement those powers?
So for our fire department, and actually, San Miguel's a special case because we were formed because there's a fire district, a sewer district, a water district in the past, and a lighting district, which each had their own budgets. They each had a special property tax for each department. So the fire department gets its own fire tax, the street lighting gets its own street lighting tax, the water actually gets its from the rates, the bills that you pay, and same thing with sewer.
So do you aggregate those funds and then it flows through the CSD?
No, we're actually prohibited because they're specially marked, only except for administration costs.
So what does the CSD do then in your community?
We do those five latent powers.
I see. Even though the taxes flow directly to those entities. Now, sometimes CSDs could be, let's say, attacked.
Yes.
And folks call for disincorporation of the CSD. I believe San Miguel was on the chopping block at one point.
We had some massive issues probably about 10 years ago. We had some embezzlement scandals.
Oh, really?
In fact, we actually had 2 embezzlement scandals in the mid-2000s. So a lot of people, they say CSDs don't work because they're prone to, or at least you hear about it more in the news about CSDs having these administrative problems. Because we're also...
Oceano had an issue here in the county.
Los Osos had an issue. People have called for their disincorporation, for them to be turned back over to the county, and so on and so forth. Even Cambria was in the same boat recently over some very minor things. But we have that reputation. There's also 3,000 CSDs across the state of California.
There are. And in this county?
There's 28.
So how were you able to get out from that hole?
It comes from a mixture of things. Most importantly is having good leadership and making sure that we elect elected officials who are beholden to the public. And we actually had an election where the entire board changed, and our first priority was putting in transparency measures. We adopted a transparency first policy. We did our audit. We hired a new manager, almost completely new staff. So completely different culture change. And we started moving forward and trying to improve.
So is there a sense now in your community that your CSD is on the up and up and there are no more efforts or bona fide efforts to disincorporate?
We haven't heard any more about people wanting to see the CSD get turned back over to the county, except for some who are still concerned about some previous issues. And we are working very hard to get past those by creating new policies that ensure that we don't have future embezzlement scandals. One of the minor things that they never did was putting in security cameras in the front office.
Right, silly, who would have thought? But at the same time, Anthony, what about San Miguel becoming its own city?
San Miguel, unfortunately, is very small right now. That would require a lot of effort on the residents. There has been some talk about that because there's been some friction between the community and the county. So the county being in San Luis Obispo City.
Which is farther down.
Right.
How far are you, about an hour?
Yeah, we're about 45 minutes to an hour, depending on if you get stuck in traffic on the grade.
Of course.
So there are some movements in the community to do that. There are others who say we are a small town, should stay that way.
How small?
We're actually we were at 2,500, but we're building about 300 new homes in the next year.
So you will grow, but that would be small. I mean, usually 10,000 is kind of a nice target when you're looking at incorporation. Morro Bay's 10,000, and so.
Right, but it also depends on if you have industrial base, if you have commercial.
Sales tax,
yes, sales tax.
Can you afford that?
Right, and there are some laws that prohibit new incorporation. from taking money that the county already gets. There was a massive case in the late 90s, Citrus Heights versus Sacramento
Tell
County.
us, I'm interested. What happened there?
I don't know much of the details, but I do know, though.
You know a lot, though. You are a wealth of information.
From what I understand, though, is that Citrus Heights was unincorporated, and they decided they wanted to incorporate, and they were using a new development as their basis for a tax. But the county of Sacramento said that that was in their area, and that they were, because they were going to get it, that they should have kept the money. So there was a massive lawsuit over it. Citrus Heights ended up incorporated, paying Sacramento for the lost revenue.
The county.
Yes.
Wow.
Over 25 years, I think, and I hope no one from Citrus Heights calls me and says I got that wrong.
Right, but I understand your point. I mean, so there are, it's not easy just to flip the switch and incorporate as an independent city.
And one of the problems that CSDs really have is because a lot of us represent smaller communities, and there is that divide between we're a small town and we'd like to stay that way versus those who want to be more independent and dislike the county. So that's the biggest friction.
So let me ask you, because obviously one of your main areas is water.
Of course.
And I want to get a sense from you how San Miguel, a city or a town in North San Luis Obispo County, is faring this year. You know, we're kind of right between San Francisco and Los Angeles, and we know Los Angeles did not see the El Nino it hoped for. We know San Francisco and even farther north state did. It was the flip of what we expected. So how is North San Luis Obispo County doing in terms of the drought? We
did not see the El Nino that we hoped for. That is the unfortunate reality that we have to live with, which is also why we have to plan for other ways to, I mean, we can only conserve so much, but North County is experiencing explosive growth, so conserving will only do so much. We have to find new sources. In fact, one of the things that I had been working on with the executive director of the Los Tablas Resource Conservation District, another special district in this county.
Devin?
Devin.
I've interviewed him, yes.
He's a great guy.
He is.
But he had an idea, which was to start doing recharge basins, because there's two rivers that meet just outside of San Miguel's limits. And we thought that would be an excellent place to start capturing river water when it starts.
And put it into the ground?
Yes.
Okay, and?
So we are developing a process to start the study on that.
Is it within the CSD?
That is the question, because there's a property that is within it, but the rivers meet just outside. So we're going to have a study area probably around that. Of course, so this is all new pipeline projects.
Is there a way to annex?
Yes, but LAFCO will charge us.
To annex?
Yes, they will charge us. If I'm not mistaken, it's about $5,000.
Is that worth it if you get more water?
No, absolutely. But the property owner allows us to consent to it. So
is there an owner or is it county land?
That's owner. All the river is owned by property.
Private citizens.
Yes.
So what do you think? I mean, because this does seem like it would be a great solution.
Now, the one property that is in our limits, they have talked about it in the past. Of course, I can't speak for them directly right now, but that would be a really great place if we could work something out so we could start recharging the water.
How would it work?
Do
you know? Or do I have to get Devin on? Devin best.
Devin is the expert, which is why we actually defer to Devin.
Right.
And that's one of the great things, though, especially about our association of special districts, is the fact that we come together and we start popping out ideas, and then someone will say, man, we would love to do this idea, but we can't get the grant funding because we don't have this power or that ability.
But the RCD does?
Oh, no, the RCD was the one who didn't have the ability to get the grant funding.
But the CSD does?
San Miguel did, because we are a disadvantaged community.
Fascinating.
So, in fact, it was actually after one of our grant meetings, Devin was very frustrated, and I started talking with him and said, hey, you know what? That would be a great project to do in our community, because we can't afford to pipe in water from Lake Nacimiento.
Which is in the very top of San Luis Obispo County.
The pipeline would cost us about $7 million. So
okay, that's for real.
Yeah, so for a town of about 3,000 people, that's not happening.
I'm sorry you're not having a good time with your elected position. I mean, you seem like you're just having a ball, and I thank you for joining us.
Yes.
His name is Anthony Kalvans. He is a director with the San Miguel Community Services District, also the vice president of the Special Districts Association of San Luis Obispo County. I'm Brad Pomerance, Charter Local Edition.